What's going on, everyone? TallenV here, and today we are going to be talking about EZAs because it is the end of an era. Yes, the final EZA, which was the AGL Rose on the JP side of the game, has come and gone. And, well, it's actually still technically around, but regardless, we're here. We have completed all of the EZAs up to the end of what a lot of people consider to be the best of the best times for Dokkan, which was the 70% leads / the demigod leads, which were the 100% leads, and the AGL Rose, Physical Vegito Blue, the TEQ Merge Zamos, and the Spirit Sword Trunks. So I thought, let's go ahead and take a look at all of these, not all of the EZAs, but just at our top 5, I should say. So by the way, I am joined by a very special guest. Nolar, go say hello, man.
What's up, everyone? Yeah, we're going to be talking to see how bad these units were and how badly they needed to jump to where they are now to be amazing units. So
yeah, and of course we want to emphasize this like crazily right now. All of these units that we're about to talk about, they are amazing. It is hard to always rank somebody as top 1 or top 3 because it's just like, well, this one person here does this one extra thing minusculely for this one particular event. So for me personally, I'm personally going to put him here. Oh, but this guy does this over this guy. Yeah, but he's too RNG and everything. It can go back and forth no matter what. So the fact that these characters are right here, and actually it's just to say this at all pretty much any EZA for the most part is amazing, right? They are improvements upon their cards before they got their EZAs, and they're amazing. So if we simply say, you know, oh, this guy's only number 2, but you consider him as number 1, that's totally fine. These are just our personal opinions and how we thought, how much we've used these cards, and just overall how we felt about them. So Nolar, why don't you go ahead and start us off with your number 5, which I currently have up on the screen so you guys can go ahead and see. Go ahead and start talking about it.
Yeah. So Physical Broly. I mean, everyone said he's really good when he came out. I just don't hear much about him now. But yeah, so if you look at his kit beforehand, this is when he and AGL Super Vegito started the 70% meta. And so look at his passive plus 7,000 attack, and then perform an additional super attack when key is 8 or more. And that part there was like a brand new mechanic in the game unto itself. Getting double super attacks. This is before the potential system and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this was really, really cool and unique. You just had to get a couple of key orbs, and bam, he was going to get a second additional off. And you know, again, we didn't have crit additional attacks then, so it just was extra damage. That's what it was.
Yep.
So Key was like, he was old, he needed it. We were expecting he was going to get something decent. And so when you hit the Extreme Z Awakening, bam, okay, raises attack and defense per super, 20% raising attack and defense, cool. But then he gets 2 supers every turn as long as you get 8 key or more.
Yep.
That's the crazy part.
Yep.
And then his passive, they gave him 4 key attack and defense 80%. So you're already going to get 2 double supers because more than likely you're running 3 key leads. So you start off at 6, you give yourself 4. Hey, guess what? You're at 10, which is more than 8. So you're definitely getting another super off. And then chance of performing a critical hit plus 2% with each attack performed up to 40%. So you have to get off 20 attacks with 20 supers off, which was, you know, based on the passive, 10 turns.
10
at least.
turns, yeah.
Right, or even less if you get lucky with the potential system.
Yep.
So this guy was outputting massive damage, and he was raising his defense. Like in a long-term event, like the Legendary Goku event, sure, the STR one has type advantage, but if you had built up enough super attacks, he could tank no problem.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
And then on top of that, you look at his categories: movie bosses, pure Saiyans, full power, target Goku, exploding rage, and of course the brand new
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Inhuman Deeds.
Nah, you said it.
So, which before was Diabolical Villains. Like, okay,
it's still know. Diabolical Villains in my head. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, it's just gonna have to reprogram my mind to see that and just interpret it as Diabolical Villains. But anyways, he's got a lot of teams he could run on. He might not be the optimal, but if you do need a long stacker, like you're taking this guy.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's why I think he's my number 5, and there he is.
Yeah, he's a very good card, guys. Definitely don't overlook him. All right, so for my number 5, I'm going to be going with the AGL Rose. Now, this is the one who just came out. Let's take a look at what he had beforehand, and then we're going to take a look at what he brought to the table. So beforehand, when he originally came out, he was the very first, I believe, extreme class P+3 stats up 50%, causes immense damage, and greatly lowers defense, which to this day is still garbage. And then it was attack up 100% in extreme allies, key +3 at the start of the turn, which is pretty good. Very good key links and attack links and everything. Good categories all around. Just, of course, over time, that lack of defense, the lack of not even lowering the enemy's attack or anything like his STR counterpart did, definitely hurt him and everything. And then when we get to his EZA, boom, he is very, very good. Very nice. Greatly raises defense for 1 turn, which is awesome. Causes immense damage, and then greatly lowers the enemy's defense, which again, we don't care about. Attack up 100%, and the key 3, and attack plus 30% to the extreme class allies at the beginning of the turn, which is really cool. And then for every time that you get hit, you get extra 30% defense, and that can total to a 180. So if you have him on as a bit of a longer event, he's at 180 defense already. Greatly raises his defense for 1 turn. If he gets some potential systems going in there, that's another additional super attack. The dude is taking names and kicking ass. He's doing very well. He's doing very well for
Absolutely.
himself. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think, and a lot of people were worried about with the LR, the INT LR Rose, that this guy would not really be well. But this guy does show that he can be better in those longer events compared to his INT counterpart, which I think a lot of people recognize as being better in the like something like Super Battle Road.
Offensive category.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously STR still has this part on something like the extreme STR stage as well. But regardless, focusing back on the AGL one here, the dude can put out some numbers. He still puts out some numbers. Like, you just see that as 100% attack and you're like, that's really not that much. He still does a lot of damage, actually. He really does, especially with the teams he's on. I mean, like Realm of Gods, Batara, which I know you don't really run him on that much anymore, but Future Saga, Time Travelers, like those, he's hitting some high numbers. I mean, I easily see over 2 million, 2.3, even 3 million, especially if you get something like Big Bad Bosses going and everything. Like, he hits some high numbers. So I was very impressed with him. Definitely a very good card. That's my number 5 personally. So all right, moving on to our number 4. We actually both have the same number 4, and it is the TEQ Golden Frieza. Why don't you go ahead and start talking about him at the beginning, man, from when we first got him.
Yeah, so I think he just came out right after Gotenks, right? I think I want to say that.
Yeah, I believe Gotenks was, it was right after Gotenks or something like that.
Yeah, so he does a super attack, causes immense damage to enemy, greatly lowers defense, which not that significant to us now. And then he damage received -7% and attack plus 7% when HP is 50% or above. So he was the tank, right? Like, he was a very good tank, but then when you drop below 50, he was getting thrashed around like a wet noodle. So yeah, nobody really cared. Like, they cared about him, but when they were really wary of dropping below 50. So item usage was very
heavy.
How do I say it? Yeah, you had to really think about it, and then you had to use him a lot. But and he's the Resurrection F Golden Frieza, so those links kind of make more sense for that. But he's on a lot of categories, right? Resurrected Warriors, movie bosses, full power, transformation boost, wicked bloodline, terrifying conquerors, target Goku, revenge, and the diabolical villains. I'm gonna call it that.
There you go. This is your chance.
But yeah, so Talon, go ahead, tell us what happened when he got his EZA.
So when he got his EZA, guys, whew, man, this guy bumped up. So causes immense damage still, massively lowers defense, which is still kind of whatever personally. But he gets an 80% attack automatically, just right there. Reduces damage received by 80% when your HP is 50% or more. And then he still reduces damage received by 50%. So he mitigates damage by 50%. And gets an additional 50% attack. So basically at 130% attack when your HP is 49% or below. So while he doesn't mitigate as much after dropping below the HP threshold, he still mitigates. I mean, 50% mitigation aside from like Extreme Super Battle Road and maybe a couple of final bosses on a longer event is still perfectly fine. He does just fine. And he's hitting 130% attack. And he's got SA-15 and everything. So dude's doing good. I mean, he definitely saved my butt in Extreme Super Battle Road, Extreme Tech stage.
Yep.
Yeah, I really have nothing else. And he links up really well with a lot of different people. He works very well on something like, you know, transformation boost, because that's a lot of those guys have both shocking speed, or you're running something like STR Cooler along with him, which is really cool. You can throw him on full power because he actually links up pretty well with the physical Broly, and he works really well, I think.
Yeah, the reason why everyone loves him is because he's just so usable in all those categories we mentioned, right? Like, if you have him, he's going to be pretty much top choice to be ran on the team. So, you know, even when you drop below 50%, yeah, he's still mitigating damage. Not a lot, but it's still 50%, and he's hitting way harder. So it's kind of a win-win, right? No matter what stage where your HP is at. So, I mean, he's really good. I'm glad we got him, because he definitely helped push through some events for me, and I'm sure that it applies to everyone else. So
yeah, pretty much, definitely a very good update. So, all right, moving on to our number 3s now. This is where we start to venture off again. I think Golden Frieza was about the one EZA we had kind of slotted in the same place. Let's go on to your number 3, which is STR Omega Shenron. You want to go and talk about this guy, man?
Sure. So personally, I love strength, like the typing strength. Yeah. My favorite color is red. It's red, and you know, STR Gogeta, all that stuff. So when he came out, I was super stoked to pull him. And if I remember, and this was like 4 years ago, I pulled him in the second multi, and I pulled a dupe in like the 5th multi. And I wasn't like and this is before dupe system and stuff like that. So like I didn't. He was just SA fodder. That's what it was back then. All right, but anyway, so to start what he does, so it causes immense damage and greatly lowers defense. Again, lowering defense, whatever. Passive skill, so he's attack 80% and all enemies attack minus 30%. At the time, we didn't have Super Battle Road or anything like that, so it wasn't really apparent how damn good lowering the attack enemy in your passive skill was.
Yeah.
So he was just a good unit, and you know, if you like GT, if that was your thing, this was great. But his link skills is great. Look at that: brutal beatdown, fear and fate, big bad bosses, shocking speed, GT, shadow dragons, fierce battle. And his categories, he's only got 3 because, you know, he's basically full power and then diabolical villains and shadow dragon saga, so not too big. Doesn't fit a lot of places, but with the EZA, he is like mandatory full power. Like, you're taking him on full power every time.
He made full power like a viable category finally. Like Broly was the first step. This guy brought it all together essentially.
Right. So like, you know, I'm sure you've heard us harp about it, but full power has a lot of good units, but they're kind of like spread out everywhere. You've got some super units, you've got some villains, and they don't really all link well together. Like you said, Broly was the first step because he was a villain, but he was a Saiyan, so he had shocking speed, prepare for battle. He had all these links that could go together. But this guy is what cemented full power as being a very good team that you can kind of throw whatever you have in your box and he'll make it work, because his passive skill, we'll just go right to that. His passive skill, all enemies attack minus 40. It bumped up from 30 to 40.
That is huge.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you run him, it's like you're having a Whis on your team.
Dude, every time that guy comes onto the field, I'm like, I don't need to use an item. Items? What are items? Just throw this guy on there and boom, he is doing work.
Yeah. So that already was just a massive upgrade, right?
Yep.
Attack and defense 80%. Okay, so they gave him more defense. Sure, we need that in today's meta. But then this last part here, full power category allies, key +2, attack 40%.
Oh,
see,
that's
the problem.
huge.
Yeah, the problem with full power was the key linking. So yeah, you start off with 6 key, but nobody was giving other people key, so it was hard to get supers off. But with him, you're going to put him on rotation because of that minus 40% attack.
Yep.
And then on top of that, everyone's going to start off at 8 key. that's a lot easier to get a super off and get your, get everything going. So he was the glue that finally held full power together and just made it shine.
Yep.
So yeah, I put him up there as number 3 because he made that team way more viable. You can run way different team comps because of
easily. Yes, easily you can.
So
yeah,
that's why he's my number 3.
Yeah. All right. Again, I agree pretty much with everything when it comes to Omega. So my number 3, and it was close. Again, guys, like we said at the very beginning of the video, these guys, they're all amazing. I still love running, STR Omega Shenron, but my number 3 personally, who was kind of an underdog, I think, compared to most, but the more I used him, especially on something like Super Battle Road and even on the longer events, I had to go with the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. Or sorry, not Evolution Vegeta. I don't know why. I don't know why we're talking about that. Probably because we just got done with the podcast. But regardless, the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, who's been in the game obviously for a long time now. So before his EZA, it was just cause immense damage and raises attack for 3 turns. Attack plus 100%, and extreme class allies attack and defense down 20%. So already he was actually pretty good. I mean, even take him into normal Super Battle Road, he was decent. You didn't want to put him on rotation, I would say, but threw him off rotation, and lowering enemies attack by 20% was actually somewhat decent then. Very good key links and just links in general, Super Saiyan, fierce battle, prepare for battle, all that kind of stuff, right? And a ton of categories. I'm pretty sure Super Saiyan Blue Vegetas in this game probably have the most categories out of almost every character, I would say. I'm sure there's one character that has more, but overall, I think a ton of Super Saiyan Blue Vegetas have a ton of categories.
Yeah. The only one that probably has the most, I think, is AGL Gohan, the Elo Gohan.
Yeah, but he has a terrible transformation mechanic, so you know what?
Right. Yeah, I understand. I get it. So
anyway, so when he goes into his EZA, he changes quite a bit, actually. So he causes immense damage, which is awesome. Raises attack and defense by 50% for 3 turns, which is the same as saying he greatly raises his attack and defense by for 3 turns, right? So 50% is greatly. And then extreme class allies attack and defense down 20% still, right there. And a high chance to stun the enemy when you attack the extreme class. Okay, so it's sticking to the extreme class, so it does limit it a little bit there. But on something like Super Battle Road and everything, this dude's high chance to stun is very nice as a kind of little extra side thing. Attack up 120%, and the Realm of God category superclass allies defense up 50%. So he's helping the team just by being there. So you can throw him on rotation if you want to, get that first attack off. He's tanking actually pretty decently well on something like much harder events, even some of the longer events. And then on the side, he's also helping his other superclass ally for Realm of God allies get an extra 50% defense, which is very, very nice. In fact, you can run this guy along with like something like the EZA Vegeta Blue or something like that, or just a bunch of those other cards, and he's letting him tank even more, which is really nice. So that's why I had this guy personally at number 3, mostly more for the Super Battle Road stuff, but even on some of the longer events, again, greatly raising attack and defense by 50% for 3 turns, get a double attack in there via the potential system. He's doing work. He's doing very, very good work.
Yeah, he's a really good EZA. He's one of the last ones for global, right? He just made
global. You guys just got him, so don't underestimate this guy. I know some people are gonna look at something like probably the TEQ one, who got his awakening, and he's more of a raise attack and defense infinitely and everything. But you know what? This guy, he does work. He does work too.
Yep.
So
yes, he does.
All right, so we've both now hit our number 3. And now we're coming up to our first and second place ones. And I'm gonna reiterate this again, that if our number 1 or my number 1 or Nolar's number 1 is not your number 1, that is okay. Or if people go into the comments being like, how can you say this guy's better than this guy, or whatever the case may be, I get that. I totally do. Again, this is all of our opinions in the end. And in the long run, it's just gonna be what it is. So why don't we go with your number 2 right here? And then I'll say my number 2, and then we'll go on to our number 1. Okay. So right, here is your number 2. Go ahead.
It's the INT Janemba. Fun fact for you guys, story time. When I played Global, I was playing Global for the first year. The Super Gogeta banner really, really shafted me. I mean, shafted me to the point where I was like, fuck that, screw this, I'm going to JP. But Janemba, I pulled him on the first multi. So just to say, I've always got a soft spot for this guy in my heart. Yeah. So When I moved to JP, it was when Buhan came out, and he was on the banner. He was featured on the banner, and he was the first one I pulled on JP. So he and I have a long history together, I should say. So on the super attack, he does supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. Again, greatly lower defense, not that big of a deal. And then this is way back from year 1, right? He was the anniversary unit. Yep. Attack and defense 5,000, and guard activating against all types, all attacks, which was, I think, the first time they've ever done that, right?
That was the very first time they ever did something like that, yes.
So he was the de facto tank. And back then, you were running 3-key, 5,000 attack leads, like Super Gogeta.
Super Gogeta.
The old one. Yeah. And so you weren't getting defense, you weren't getting anything like that. You were just like, okay, whatever. That's why he was so good, because just being like type advantage tank to everything that hit you was just awesome.
Yep.
And you look at his links set. Look at that. Big bad bosses, shocking speed, metamorphosis for more healing, brutal beatdown, nightmare, fear and faith, fierce battle. Like, this is a great link set for extreme centric cards. Now you look at his EZA.
Oh,
this guy just got a huge transformation. Like, he became a joke to now completely viable. You'll take him anytime you can for any team that you can fit him on, right? Granted, it's just movie bosses with transformation boost, but like, even extreme int, you'll take him for sure.
Oh yeah.
So now he does immense damage to the enemy, great lowers defense, but now he gets attack and defense 70% at the start. Guard get activated against all attacks. Medium chance, what is that? 25%. So
it's about 25%. Yeah.
A chance of evading enemies' attack, including supers, for 1 turn, plus an additional 40% attack for 4 turns when guard is activated. So he just gets hits once, then he has a chance to dodge everything, and then he gets an extra attack boost. Like, who made this card? Like,
I don't
what? Know. And so for the longest time, he was the de facto #1 EZA.
Yeah, we would rank this. We would rank all their EZAs against this guy. Oh, this looks like a good EZA, but does he beat Janemba? Nope, he doesn't. Janemba's still #1.
Right. So yeah, this guy got a massive boost from what he was before. And you know what? Like I said, I personally have the soft spot for him in my heart because I get to pull him easily, but he just puts in so much work.
He does.
He just, mitigates damage and then like does a ton of damage on his own. Like, who the hell made this?
Like, I think his only weakness, personally, in my opinion, is just his lack of categories. Like, that's literally it, I think.
I agree.
So, all right. So this is your #2. So we're going on to my #2, guys, which I know is going to like anger so many people. But again, this is just, how we are and everything.
Personal
my
opinion,
#2 has to be Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, which actually is Nolar's #1. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go through the card. I'm going to explain, because I know there are crazy people going down in the comments right now, disliking this video, unsubbing, and all that fun stuff. But let's continue on. So Vegito Blue, when he originally came out, was the opposite of the AGL Rose. He was super class allies, ki +3, stats up 50%, and cause immense damage with the final Kamehameha. And then his passive skill, great chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks, which had a chance to become a super attack. Damage received from normal attacks was 30%, which you could then counter. Link skill was definitely the best, I think, for the Vegito Blues at the time. He had Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, prepared for battle, and over in a flash. None of this removing prepare for battle stuff anymore. Fierce battle and fused fighter. And in categories, he has a lot of them, obviously. Realm of Gods, Patara, Future Category, or Future Saga, Time Travelers, Kamehameha, and Last Resort, which are all very good categories and everything. So the dude was obviously very good, right? I think the only thing that I think most people would agree on is that his 30% mitigation was kind of at the time it was good, but as time went on, it definitely showed that it was not that good. And then this is what happened with his EZA. He greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage. And then for his passive skill, attack and defense at 40% at the start of the turn, automatically. He just gets that. So he doesn't have to get hit like his AGL counterpart with Super Vegito.
Oh my God.
Great chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks, each of which have to be a medium chance to become a super attack. Damage received from normal attacks is 40% now, not 30. And then he still counters with tremendous damage. Keeps all the same links, obviously, and categories are all the same. Now, obviously I know in many people's mind, this guy is the best guy ever, because once you start factoring in the multiple super attacks, the counters and everything, the dude is just out damaging everybody. And I will agree with that. That's a big fat duh. My biggest problem with this guy is that he does rely a little bit too heavily on RNG for my personal playstyle, okay? So again, I'm not saying if you like that playstyle or you like this guy more than my number one, who is, spoiler alert, I guess, the INT Janemba, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying that your reasoning is invalid or anything. Just for me personally, he's just a little too RNG heavy for my liking, because in something, and maybe it's because, you know, I do focus more on something like Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road, unlike something as simple as the Legendary Goku event or anything. But in something with Super Battle Road, where these guys are hitting extremely hard and you get just crap luck and you get one super attack off, this dude, you know, he can somewhat tank decently with no items, or even maybe one item. After just one super attack, he definitely tank a good amount of normal hits. Super attacks though, no, ain't happening. Obviously, if you have something like, you know, Whis and maybe a healing defense item activated and you get one super attack off and it's only one super attack, he's fine. But again, it's a lot. Again, it comes back to a lot of RNG, which I'm not the biggest fan of. So that's personally for me why he's number two. Nolar, do you want to explain why he's your number one though? And then I'll go into why Janemba is my number one.
Yeah, sure. The reason why he's in my number one is because he is the de facto Vegito Blue you're taking on Realm of Gods, Batar, like on like all the categories. If you're gonna take a Vegito Blue, you're taking this one.
Oh yeah, no, I usually agree with that.
So that's why I put him as number one, because you're not taking the tech over him, unless you're like, yeah, unless you're trying to do like some kind of like gimmick or whatever, sure. But like if you're like looking for optimal, good, fast runs, you're using this guy.
Oh yeah.
To counter to kind of agree with you and kind of disagree with you, is that yes, he's RNG reliant, but if the RNG does kick in, he can tank, because let's say you get 3 supers off.
Yes.
That means you're greatly raising is 50%, right?
That's pretty crazy.
If you get 3 supers off, you're raising your attack and defense by 50% 3 times, which means the normals, yeah, you get damage reduction, but if you manage to get a super against you, you can tank if that happens.
Yes.
But again, to your point, and I agree with you, he is a little RNG dependent, where he needs to get those double, triple, quadruple supers off in order to tank very, very well. So, but yeah, the reason why he's my number one is just he fits on all the teams. He's your number one option you're taking. So like, yeah, that to me defines him as my number one. But yeah, I can understand why, if you're not a fan of RNG, and we all know RNG will screw you at some point.
Yep. It's
just how it is.
Yeah.
Either in your summons or in your Super Battle Road runs. We just know.
No, they definitely can. And again, I want to reiterate, by me having him as a number two, I'm not calling him garbage, because I know there are going to be people in the comments going like, oh, you're calling him garbage? No, this guy is tremendously powerful. He is amazing. He counters stuff. He greatly raises attack and defense. He doesn't have the gimmicks that the AGL Super Vegito was given, unfortunately, in his EZA, because I'm sure he'd be in this list if he wasn't. Team A, thanks. But yeah, he is an amazing card. He truly is. He's, again, easily the de facto Vegito Blue that you want to take into any event, over the tech, over the STR. Yeah, the STR LR. And yeah, you run this guy. You put this guy along with the year 5 LR Vegito Blue. God, best rotation in the game. I don't care what anyone says right there. Yeah, it's just, it's pretty crazy what this guy can do. So, and again, the one knock I simply have against him is just the RNG. And you guys know me, I hate having to rely on RNG. Anyone who says, well, this guy dodges in his passive or something like that, and on other cards, it's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't like that personally. So that's why he's personally my number two. And then again, I know I said it already, but the reason for Janemba being my number one is simply because the jump from this guy, from what this guy had. Like, do we all remember INT Janemba before his EZA? Like, nobody ran him. Nobody. So, and then this EZA comes along and we're like, what just happened here? So, I mean, the fact that he basically knocked STR off the board, like nobody runs STR. Nobody does.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I think one big thing that I really love about the INT Janemba is the fact that he's free to everybody. And I'm using air quotes here a little bit, but if you have been playing the game for a decent amount of time, there have been so many red dragon stones that have been given to us for free, and you can get this guy from the Baba shop, right? Obviously, I know if you're a very, very, very brand new player who's just started like yesterday, then yes, I know he's not free to you guys or anything. But if you've been playing, I would say for at least what? Well, ever since the year, even if you start at the year 5 anniversary, because we got a red dragon stone then, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you could snag a copy of him for free, and his EZA is ridiculously good. So my only thing against him really is just his categories, which I think we stated before was, well, he only has 2 movie bosses and transformation boosts. That's it, unfortunately.
Yep.
If he had more categories, you know, I think a lot more people would definitely be putting him, you know, matching him a little bit closer to Vegito Blue and everything. And I know a lot of people look at Vegito Blue with, like, you know, the counters and everything. And if you get triple supers off, that just looks like, whoa. And I'll agree with that, right? Getting triple supers is like, holy crap, what just happened here? Yeah. So, and again, these are just my personal opinions, but that's why Janemba is personally my number 1. So, but you know what? I think it adds to the video that, you know, one person says this guy's number 1 and this guy says number 1. So, and we're not just agreeing out the gate on every single thing. So, you know, a little diversity and all that fun stuff.
And I can understand why you put him as number 1. Like, it makes a lot of sense. What furthers the point of how valuable he is, I think he's only been back on 1 banner, like a featured dokkanfest.
Yeah.
I think he's only been back on 1 banner since his EZA, which means that if he came back on a banner and you didn't pull him, you were going to use the 100 red coins it takes to get him from the shop.
Oh,
you would
the
do
150 coins, yeah.
Or 150 coins, whatever it is. But I'm just saying, like, he is that valuable that you're going to use coins for him. And it's cheap. He's cheaper because he's an older card, right?
It's a much older card,
But the fact that they made him this good, and the fact that they don't put him on featured banners so you can buy him from red coins, means that even they know, damn it, we kind of went over the top on this.
They know how good they made this guy, right? They definitely know.
So yeah, just to prove your point, like how good this card has become. And he's just my number 2 only because he's just not on a lot of categories. Otherwise, if he was on at least 4, if maybe 5, and he was the de facto unit you're taking every time you're running a team, then he would be my number 1. Yeah, that's just my opinion. So
anyway, guys, that is going to be it for the video, though. We are at the end of an era in terms of these EZA. So the next ones to come is probably the 120% leads. I think a lot of us, at least some of us that I've talked with, Gresh, you, and others, we don't want the 120 EZAs to come just yet. We want them to, you know, start doing things where we get, you know, like multiple units in one EZA, kind of like what they did with the physical Kale and the AGL Caulifla, and just get some of these older units some love first, and then go to the 120% leads. But, you know, money and all that fun stuff. But let us know your thoughts down below. What's your top EZA or your top 3 EZA characters? And what do you expect to come next afterwards? Do you think they're going to do the 120 leads right away? And which one do you think they're going to start with? Or do you think they're going to go into some other units first and then go to the 120% lead? So again, let us know your comments down below. Nolar, any closing comments, man, before we head out?
No, thanks for having me on. This was a fun discussion. This is always great. And yeah, guys, we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Again, make sure you leave a like if you liked the video. Comment down below. Go and check Nolar. He makes some awesome content over on his channel as always. Sub to both of us if you haven't already. Until next time, everyone. I'll see you all in the next one. Johnny.